So what you calling, what you doing tonight? Hope you're in the mood because I'm feeling just right. Who's around the corner with a table for two? Where the music mellow and some you run left. Who's there on the dance floor with a blue attitude? You gotta do some dancing to get in the... Whoa,
Miss Midler, Divine, Miss M, whatever you like to be called, welcome to Countdown.
Thank you, Mark.
So long. How do you want an interview done? Divine or Molly or Ian or what?
Whatever you say. You're the boss. I thought you were Molly. They told me you were Molly.
Yeah, I am Molly.
Yo. Only amongst your friends, I suppose.
No, the whole nation, unfortunately. Right. Yeah, stuck.
What do you mean, unfortunately?
Well, fortunately, I guess.
I should say so. Kiss the ground, my God. Stay there. Really, be grateful.
You burst onto the scene, sort of...
No, I didn't. I crawled.
You crawled?
Force.
Well, okay, you crawled onto the scene in America with an amazing album and with some great tunes, Leave It at the Pack and Boogie Woogie, which had the whole place jumping. Can you just tell us what you were doing before that and how you got into doing something like that with those songs?
Well, I was in the theater. I started out in the theater. I wanted to be like a great actress in the tragic mode.
Oh.
But I got sidetracked because there weren't a lot of jobs to be had. And there was a time when the music thing was so terribly exciting. The Beatles and the Rolling Stones and that whole business in the middle 60s. And I was caught up in it the same way everybody else was caught up in it. And I realized that I'd always sung, although I never thought I would ever make a living at it. I realized that there was something to be, something going on that I wanted to take part in. And it was unusual for me because I always was like a watcher. This time I decided I'd leap in, so I leapt in, and I always wanted to sing. I always sang the songs that I knew the best, which were actually the songs that I grew up with.
Right.
The songs that I was the most familiar with. And I was a great fan of rock and roll in the late 50s and the early 60s, so that's the stuff that I actually was the fondest of and knew the best. Then when I was a real little baby, my mother was a fan of swing, so she had a very nice collection. And those songs I was very familiar with too because I used to play them all the time. So what I built my show around was actually stuff that I knew the best.
Obviously, you've placed a lot of emphasis on staging as well as sort of the choreography and drama and everything within your act. Do you want to dance? I've seen that so many times. You perform that on television on different specials. And you always come up with a new way of presenting it or leading into it.
Yeah, isn't it amazing? It's like the bottomless pit with that song.
But you obviously
I'm just
like
going to
it.
stand there and sing the damn thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the song. It was a big hit when I was in high school, and of course I was quite a passionate teenager in the James Dean mold.
Right.
And the song meant a whole different thing to me than it meant to most kids, because it was like when it was a hit, it was an up-tempo hit. And I didn't think of it that way. I thought it was a very sad kind of song, more like a ballad, and that's the treatment I gave it.
You would you, won't you, do you, don't you, say yes to me, do you? Do you
sort of have a lot of fun. You enjoy life and sending things up. Back on one special, I noticed when you were going into Do You Want to Dance, and you were looking at a jukebox and you were trying to select what you wanted to hear, and you said Tammy Wynette, Stand By Your Man. You said, well, you do that, dear, and the Helen Reddy jokes and Marie Osmond. Do you ever sort of have to run into these people at any
Yes, oh, Lord. And then there's hell to pay.
Yeah.
Once I used to have a big thing with Karen Carpenter. I mean, I always adored Karen Carpenter. I really thought she had a beautiful voice and was very tasteful. And for the longest time, I didn't know she played the drums. And then when I found out she played the drums, of course, I fell down because it was it's so strange, so anachronistic, this beautiful voice with those drums.
Right.
And I incorporated that into her act, but I really, very respectfully, because I liked what she did.
Mm-hmm.
And then one year, I was up for the Grammy Award for the Newcomer of the Year, and she and her brother gave me that award, and I heard that they spent the whole afternoon trying to figure out some way to send me up.
And what did they do?
They didn't do anything. They chickened out at the last minute.
Did you do it? No, with
Wasn't
Cher.
anything to write home about. With Cher or Cher?
Cher.
With Cher.
You two were good friends at one stage.
We're very good friends.
Still are?
Yeah, very good friends.
Yeah.
She never did me any dirt.
Right.
In fact, she sends me clothes. I get her all her hand-me-downs. Truly, literally, really.
Yeah.
I had nothing to wear in England for my show, my party.
Mm.
And she sent me clothes. She said, "You poor thing." You know, and she sent me a whole packet of clothes. I don't care. Care from Cher.
Oh, right. Dustin Hoffman is obviously a very good friend of yours.
He's a nice guy, yes. He's a very good friend. He's a nice man. Little, you know.
Yeah.
Not too many marbles, but really, I mean, demented, quite demented.
He's a brilliant actor, though.
He's a brilliant actor, and a fine mind, and really, he's like a sponge. Absorbs everything, and he's talented in a lot of different areas. Very sort of like, you know, gets you very insane, though, when you're around it for a long time, that kind of energy.
Just to finish off now, of all the people you've worked with...
Finish off?
The interview.
Oh, I see.
You've worked, and the specials we've seen with Neil Sedaka, and as I say, the one with Dustin, and you've done things with Elton and Barbara, and with Elton and Cher. And then I saw one with the late Bing Crosby that you did, playing an usherette.
Oh, I was so mortifying.
Again?
Oh, God. Was that mortifying?
Yeah?
Oh, it was so hideous. I was underdressed, you know, and I looked like a sausage, and no one told me. You know, first of all, I was terribly overweight at the time anyway, and then they stuffed me into 2 costumes at once. And the costume wasn't very well constructed, so that I'm not used to doing television, and I thought it was live, and they didn't tell me it wasn't live. I thought it was going to be live, and it was actually on tape, and my dress sort of went as I was running down the aisle, and I had to stop and say,
right.
Button me, help me, because I had gloves on my hands. Oh, it was just oh, God, was that awful.
Well, look, you are
and then Bing fell into the pit. Oh, my God. Oh, it was so awful.
When? During the show?
That show was the show that actually wound up dealing him the death blow. That was Pitts Pasetta. Of course, I never say. Pitts Pasetta was the producer of that. I call him Pitts Pasetta because everybody who ever works for him, he was the producer of the show, the director of the show. He has like these space-age sets, and everyone who works for him winds up breaking an arm or a leg because they're terribly steep steps, and then he puts a spotlight in your face, and you don't know where the hell you are. Perry Como had a terrible accident when he worked at Pitts. He did. He fell down and he broke his knee in several different places and didn't work for years, all on account of Pitts.
And Bing fell into the pit.
And Bing fell into the pit. That was the night he fell into the pit. And he fell 20 feet down. It was hideous. And he was clinging to the scenery. And this man is like 75 years old. That you didn't know about that?
No.
Oh, it was just...
Well, look,
what a night.
I think the best thing we can go out in now is a beautiful song that you do called Hello in There.
Oh.
Would you like to enjoy that one?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Here's
Brings
Bette.
back so many
Here's Bette with Hello in
So many
There.
memories.
Listen, thanks for coming on the
Oh,
show.
it's my pleasure. God, get me to the marina.
In the old hall, and Joe, he's somewhere on the road. You know, we lost Davy in the Korean War. I still don't know what for. Don't matter anymore. Don't matter. You know, old trees, they just grow stronger. Old rivers grow wilder every day. Old people, they just grow lonesome, waiting for someone to say,